Hello, old school movie reviews. Welcome to the B movie apocalypse. Today, the movie I have is Lady Snowblood. Lady Snowblood is a very interesting film. It was released in 1973 and directed by, and I apologize if I say the names wrong, Fuhida Toshiya, and it stars Maji Miko. It was based on a manga by Koki Kazu and Kamimuro Kazu. The screenplay was written by Osada Norio. The premise is pretty simple. A young woman must get revenge for her dead mother on the gang of bandits that raped and kidnapped the mother and killed the mother's husband. The young lady travels across the countryside. She gains help and deals justice. Flashbacks fill the viewer in on the heroine's backstory. Lady Snowblood was a very entertaining film, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Not that I thought it was going to be bad, but I didn't expect to be moved emotionally to the extent that I was. For the most part, the acting is pretty decent, and the directing is very sharp. Lady Snowblood has a very powerful visual style where the screen is filled with contrasting colors and engaging wide angle shots, and the editing helps bring the viewer in deeper into the story rather than distract from it. Certain scenes carry a real emotional weight that many similar action revenge flicks lack. Yuki is described in the narrative as a person who was trained to be an emotionless killer, but it's clear by the actress's portrayal that she's full of this barely contained rage with just a touch of sadness. Also, another interesting part is where a certain amount of sympathy is actually evoked for one of the bandits, but it's done a completely non-stereotypical way. The original writing really puts a unique twist on a very well-worn story premise. Another interesting thing about Lady Snowblood is how much of an influence it was on Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill film. Not only is there a setting that is lifted wholesale from Lady Snowblood, but there's also musical cues that are reused, and something that sort of happens in this movie during one of the fight scenes happens during one of the fight scenes in Kill Bill. More subtly, one thing I think Tarantino borrowed was the unique tone that's able to blend genre conventions along with more nuanced emotions. Now, while there's no nudity in Lady Snowblood, there is a fair amount of gore, and it's mostly in the form of like blood splatter from like the sword wounds and a couple of decapitations. And while it's maybe just a little shocking at times, I don't believe that the violence is excessive. The fight scenes aren't mind-blowing, but they are plausible in this context. But more importantly, I think Lady Snowblood is a film that succeeds on the strength of its narrative rather than providing a lot of spectacle. Okay, and I think that's it. I got to thank you very much for listening. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them. Thanks, and you have a great day.